Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Ask the Experts for Cup Day, Tuesday, 1st of November. And hey, it's amazing, of course, Cup Day. Amazing, it's November, just a couple of months of 2022 to go. What amazing year it's been on the markets. Hopefully we can sort out some of the mess in markets, some of the mess in your portfolio, potentially find some winners and turf out some of the potential losers. Before we do that, let's talk about the disclaimer, which says everything today is general advice. Seek the help of a financial professional before acting upon any of it. It's also important you read our product disclosure statement, which you can get from our website. The rest of the information in that disclaimer is important. You should read it very, very carefully. And you can do that in the YouTube recording, which I'll put up later on. Just hit pause, and I'm sure you'll read it word for word. Apart from that, pretty simple stuff today. Over to you. Find the Q&A window somewhere in your Zoom application there, or if you're watching me live on YouTube, you've got a chat window there. I'm monitoring both, and I will do my best to give you a technical and fundamental reader. Let me head over to here and get the charts going, and let's do, you can count them, 2 minutes on the overall picture. ASX 200 first up, very interesting at the moment. We are pushing into the long-term downtrend zone. Hey, we haven't done that, i.e. pushing into the long-term downtrend zone, for a couple of months now. The last time we had a look at this zone, we were there for about 5 minutes, and then we had a massive, massive sell-off. I don't think that's going to happen this time because the build-up is substantially better. I mean, it's this sort of build-up happening a bit closer to the zone. So actually, we've probably a pretty good chance of at least testing in the zone, maybe even getting above the zone. You can see what happened this time we got to the zone. You can see what happened this time we got to the zone. Before that, it acted as support. Before that, it acted as resistance. It's an important area. Let's just see how the candles print in there. Black candles, upper shadows. We've got problems. Okay, white candles. Well, to be fair, this was white candles look pretty good, but I will say it anyway, white candles were okay. We're going to test high levels, maybe even come back and test 71.38, 71.30. The next chart I'm going to show you will possibly temper your enthusiasm. Hey, that's up to you. This is the chart of the China A50 shares. So this is the mainland Chinese shares. You've got to be a Chinese citizen to invest in them. To the best of my knowledge, somebody will shout at their screen and tell me if I'm wrong. This is literally falling off a cliff. You've seen the property market is having issues again. We've got a large property company in particular, Greenland, I think the name of it is off the top of my head. I read the news article this morning, potentially going to default in some of their bonds. We've also got housing starts down about 30% in a very short space of time. Property market is a big driver of the economy and of the demand for stuff like this. Okay, so that's Shanghai iron ore price. And then we've got the US dollar based price as well. So you can see taking our currency moves there, just looking in something we're more familiar with, the US dollar based price, which was, over 200 back here, has fallen down to 75-ish, and beneath 75, the next level is going to be 62.54. So that might have ramifications for your iron ore companies. And just having a look at the more growth-oriented commodities, we do see copper still, I think, very, very weak, not turning around to reflect the strength in some of those equity markets. Probably one of the stronger ones there, Dow Jones Industrial Average. But remember, 30 big blue chips, largely value-based, not growth-based. And that's why it is outperforming, S&P 500 outperforming, but the growth index, the Nasdaq, I would suggest to you is significantly underperforming. Until we see growth start to beat value again, I would suggest that exercising caution is the best way to go. I'm still worried about that very strong chart there. So yields are still looking like they're going to go higher. I'm happy for them to turn around and go lower. That might give the market some reprieve. We did see some of the heat come out of, say, this chart here, natural gas, but that has a strong bounce. This is a strong bounce through here, back through 5, high trough, good candles. The European situation, I know they're just dots, but you'll get the picture, is coming down. So that has helped a little bit. Okay, look, I guess you want to have a look at stuff like thermal coal, which I think is an interesting chart here. So it is starting to break. I think this is starting to break. Short-term trend is down. We're testing to the long-term trend zone. You can't see it. You can see it now. Coking coal still very strong. We've looked at natural gas. I think uranium's still okay. Lithium prices still bottom left, top right. everything is good in the world there. Some of the other metals prices, let me just do this, you can see them. That's aluminium. This is nickel, very flat, in fact, probably turning down. Lead, not too bad. Tin has completely collapsed, and zinc has completely collapsed as well. So just giving you some idea of some of those big macroeconomic themes out there to keep an eye on. Okay, with that in mind, did I go for 2 minutes? Maybe a little bit more. Let's go to Neuren and go back to the candlesticks. There we go. I think this looks fine, Helen. I think this looks really good. And yeah, nothing too sinister in there. We don't want to see, of course, big upper shadows, but this isn't a big one. You know, it's modest at this stage. I think it's okay. I'm more than happy to hold on to that one. Yep, I don't think I can give you any more than that. If you don't have it, I'm equally happy to buy it. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't buy this one right now. You know, bottom left, top right, short-term uptrend, long-term uptrend. You know, the price action is good. So we've got, there's a little peak trough in there, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think that it's holding the demand zone, so at the previous point of supply, acting as a future point of demand. That's all good. That's what we want to see. So happy with that one. What I didn't do a lot of last week, I'm not going to do it this week either. It's not working. You can see there. Let me try again. IAG from Colin is the next one. So Neuren, hold/buy, no issues. IAG, it's got a short-term uptrend, high highs and high lows. Short-term downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. So you can go back in the recording and double check that I have these correct. That's an inside candle, that's up. So this is all part of the same trend. All right, so this will go to, come here. There we go. This will go up to here, all right? And then we will come down to here. Okay, and then we've got a little uptrend, high highs and high lows. And then we go back to downtrend, low highs and lower lows. And this is an absolute ironclad. You cannot stuff it up. And I'm talking to you, and you know who you are. You can't possibly stuff this up, okay? The definition, high highs, high lows, uptrend, short-term uptrend, lower highs, lower lows, downtrend. And the peak, okay, so we've just got your regular old peak. It's still a point of supply, is the highest point between the two trends. And we've got a point of demand down here, but we would elevate in importance a particular point of supply. So we would say that this is a major point of supply, right? A major point of supply, because it has two peaks on either side. So you can see the peak here and the peak here. So you just see how it's elevated. This isn't a major point of supply because it doesn't have, well, it does have a peak here to be fair, but the important bit is that these peaks are lower, okay? That's probably the other bit I should add. So it has a peak on either side, and logically, each of those peaks on either side is lower, okay, which makes this a major point of supply. It also makes this, I know we're getting off topic here, but this is good stuff. This is the stuff you need to do when you're looking at charts, is understand how price action works. And just draw this stuff out. Just draw it out, and you'll get a feeling for just how price action changes, and what is good price action, what isn't good price action. So this would be a major point of demand because it has higher troughs on either side. Yep. Whereas this trough is lower. So this one here would literally just be your average run-of-the-mill point of demand. Now, what's the relevance of this, Carl? Why is this important to you? Okay, well, let me zoom out a little bit, and we can see now that this counts, all right? So this one here doesn't count so much, okay? This one here counts more, okay? So we should expect some supply in this zone. And we should also expect that we won't blast through that supply immediately. It's pretty rare that occurs, because you imagine when you hit this supply for the first time, and this is just figuratively speaking, it could be this big. We don't know how big it is. It's again, the more major the point of supply, the more it stands out from its peers, the more supply is likely to be there, the more people who got in around these levels who regret that and want to get out at some stage. And we hit it the first time. So this is our first test here. This is so important that we understand how we break levels of supply. We need to test them. This is close enough. I'd say that's the first test. And really, this is the second test. And you know, it's pretty rare you get through in the first time, but you know, you have a test, you have a second test even, and then the point is we're getting more likely to succeed. So this is really now this third test, and I'm going to say it's successful. I'm going to say we're through this zone now, this major point of supply, the influence of this major point of supply, which is kicking in from about here. So I think this is actually pretty good. Okay, now look up. Okay, Carl, thanks for that. Now where do we go? Okay, well, this is the next one. Okay, this is pretty significant here, and it coincides with that. So I draw this supply, it's probably that big. Just looking at some of these other candles through here, like where are the fingerprints of supply on this chart? So it's giving you an idea of how to set a target. I'm probably going to go there, and this is arbitrary. I mean, this is up to you, right? You get better with experience at drawing this. So I can't really give you the hard and fast, you can't stuff it up rule, but I am looking at, the candles to guide me. So I think we're good. I think we're good until we get into this zone. And now if you're an investor, well, that might give you some comfort saying that, Carl said that, look, it looks pretty good. It'll get probably to 530, 540. And it gives you the comfort to hang on and continue to collect your dividends, all right? Hunky-dory, happy days. If you're a trader, however, well, I think you need to treat that or this scenario a little bit differently, because this is where reward to risk comes into it. So this is what I call trade craft, how you craft your trade. If we say that this next box, which is going to be blue, there it is, or purple, I'm colorblind, forgive me, I think it's blue, is our reward potential. And maybe it's a little bit bigger than that. I mean, we could probably go up to there, 535, call it. And then we're looking for a place to set our stop loss. And now the whole idea of setting a stop loss is you don't want to get stopped out. You don't want that stop to be hit. So if we believe that there is demand at these troughs, right, these are points of demand, wouldn't it make sense then to put your stop loss beneath a point of demand, a point where the market is likely to come in and buy again and push the price up, and therefore protect your stop loss? Okay, so if this is my risk, so if I put my stop loss in that pink zone, and therefore I'm running out of colors, let's make this our risk. The key is that the blue box up to our target is greater than our risk. Okay, we need to have at least 1-to-1. If you don't, I guess what a great day to talk about this, risk and reward, as we're all about to go out and bet on some horses, you need a sufficient payoff to even think about taking this trade. And for me, it has to be at least 1-to-1. You might say, hey, Carl, shouldn't it be 2-to-1 or 3-to-1? I say, well, if you can get that, that's better. And what we're doing now is we're starting to have a method of comparing trades. So let's say I ran my scan today and I had Neuren and I had IAG, and they were the standout two best trades. Okay, now we're at the start of Ask the Experts today. We're going to find other ones, but let's say we've got NEU, okay, which if I look up, right, I look up and zoom out, right, there's I won't find anything, I don't think. Oh, I will. Okay, I have to go back to 2007, okay, which is a long time ago. All right, so I will get something there. That's a long time ago. So I would go back a few years, but I don't think I'd go back 15 years. I don't think that's relevant. So I'm happy to say that apart from that giant thing, which is still miles away, the reward to risk on Neuren is substantially greater. All right. Well, then we've got $10. I wouldn't draw this above $10 because you'd want to get out before the round number. And then if we went the risk there might be sort of down to here, or if you wanted to be conservative, maybe a couple of points of demand to protect you. Okay. So what we're doing now is we've got a method, right, to compare two potential trade opportunities. Okay. And that helps us get to where what I want you to do each time you're looking at a chart is come up with your own score out of 10. It might be different from my score. It'll be different from the other person that's in this webinar today. But I think you should do this. I think you should say, well, based upon everything Carl's taught me, I'm going to say IAG is a solid 7 out of 10. Okay. And then I might go to Neuren, and because of the reward to risk potential, this one here, look, I reckon that's a bit better. I mean, everything looks a bit better there. So I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. Okay. Well, now we have an somewhat subjective, mostly objective method for distinguishing between two trades there. Okay. I like IAG. Don't get me wrong. I give it 7 out of 10 for you there, Colin. I know we digress, but hopefully there's some great takeaway points for you in that discussion. Let's go to CXL for John. Okay, CXL, we've got some problems here, John. So it has gone through this classic sort of transition phase. I'm guessing the last time we looked at it was probably mid-September, and we talked about maybe on this day or this day it had breached its point of supply, and then I would have said something like look up and see where the next points of supply are and the proximity of those points of supply. I can't remember any more of the discussion apart from that, just probably where I said where you're going to get potential problems. Let us remove this and then focus on, well, I haven't talked about it for a while, but the stuff you really needed to focus on was obviously the trend change through here, the break of the long-term trend, the retest, and the fail. And this is the key part here. So there's your fail. This is where you kind of have to say, well, as much as I love this stock and I think it's going to be fantastic, the market is really starting to change its mind, and therefore I need to start changing my mind about it. And you'll often find that really your last little bit of hope is through here. So that little trough, this point of demand, which is created by that break and retest. Think about it. If you've got a break and a retest, you've got to have a trough in there. So really, below here, it's lights out. You're really struggling to find a reason, and then you've got a break of that. Now it gave you one more retest through here, and then a fail again with a candle that is a pretty clear-cut candle for me. You know the ones I like to look for at supply. So I keep telling you that we don't know an area is point of supply until we get there and we see the candles in that area. And the candles we don't want to see if we're long are these long upper shadows, really just telling me that supply's in that zone. And then you've got the next one the next day. I can't see any reason to be long Calix at this point in time, as in zero. There's this. If we go through the spectrum of buy, hold, sell, buy is 0%, hold is very little as well. I can't see any reason to hold it, and therefore I have to go sell on Calix. There's nothing in the demand and supply telling me that the market wants to take the risk on this compared to the potential reward that's out there. And I know we might look at something and say, well, I think the reward's going to be amazing, but you need the market, unfortunately, to agree with us for us to turn that into a profit. John's Lyng looks better. I mean, it did all the similar sort of classic sort of break, test, fail patterns. It's better in that we're coming up and we're testing again. Yesterday's candle was not fantastic, but it does indicate supply is there. Today's candle is still building. We're not sure how it's going to finish. If it finishes with an upper shadow, that would be another reinforcement that there is supply in this zone. I'm just doing another update at the moment because I get hourly updates. We'll see how this one changes. Whether it changed, it actually didn't. Obviously, it hasn't changed over the last hour of trading. That's fine. Look, bottom line is if we can get above, say 7, if we can start trading in the 7s, I think it's okay. If it starts to move back down, clearly if it breaks this low here, which is 549, that would be an exit. If it broke that low there, that would be a lighten. So I would say that a break of this, I'm assuming somebody is on it. If you're not on it, I'll talk about that in a second. But if you are on it, this would be a lighten or a trim, whatever you want to call it. And then this would be an exit. Okay, so we're talking about a close beneath these respective levels and the course of action that I would like to take. Okay, whereas we said Calix, so CXL, the buy didn't even come into the equation. I think we can see that the technicals on this other one, JLG, are very different. And I think, but look, buy's not in the equation, so let's rule out buy. But I think we can see that hold is definitely figuring in the numbers here. So I'm happy to go a hold on this one because we do have these rising peaks and troughs. We've got some lower shadows here and here, some white candles, but I am concerned about this. So this is my concern. But I'm happy, based upon today's white candle, to give it the benefit of the doubt that we can get through that. So I can go a hold, not a buy, and then for it to be a sell, these are the parameters upon which that might occur. Okay. Let us go to TLX this time, which we looked at, I want to say, on this day here. It's done okay, not fantastically. Instead of getting to this supply zone, it is starting to build its own little supply zone here. So this candle is not amazing. The fact that we could get a little peak today, that candle upper shadow, and potentially cause something that looks like this is a little disturbing. But that candle is still live. So I'm happy to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's still a hold for me, but if we could draw some areas in there, that might be a reason, not might be, I think that's a reason to lighten. And then it would, I'd be happy to keep some skin in the game though, until really it was down here. Okay, for a sell, it would have to be really smashing through this uptrend zone, short-term uptrend, long-term uptrend, big point of demand here for me to go to a sell. But I think on a close beneath that low there, which is 675, I think it would be lightened. Just to take some off the table. It's probably a small profit for you, and then see how we go with the rest of it. The reason is we didn't make it to this supply zone. I mean, why didn't we even just get here? Why didn't we give that a good go? That would be my only concern. Otherwise, yeah, it's a hold because of this and this. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it wouldn't be a buy based upon what I can see there. It's not one of those 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10 out of 10s just at this stage. What I haven't done, apologies to all of you on YouTube. Let me get to yours. How's Novonix going? This one's from Bullsheet. Okay, now that's BULL space SHEET. Welcome, Bullsheet. Let us look at Novonix NVX, which is, we can see some of our scratchings from last time. Okay, so let me zoom in on that. And we said, let's see how we deal with the supply here. And I would have talked about watching out for black candles with upper shadows, which lo and behold is what we got. I would have said something like, you need to see this price action before I got interested. So I'd need to see a break of the supply zone, come back, test, hold, and then some nice candles. And I'd be looking to buy around here in that sort of 330 to 340 zone with good candles. Look, we haven't seen it. Let me get rid of all this stuff. Let me get rid of it all, and we'll do a new check. So I'm just going to draw that one back in because that is the dominant supply zone. It is important. It needs to be dealt with. The good news is I do believe this is a first test. And a company like Novonix, which has had such a tough time of it, you have to totally expect that supply at certain areas is going to be tough to deal with, and you won't just get straight through it. So even as good as this candle was, it's just not surprising at all that we hit this level and we stop. Okay, this is, for me, this is an absolutely major point of supply, and therefore you wouldn't just buy it on a first test. You'd wait for at least a second test. You might even take a third test before we can deal with the dead wood at this level waiting to get out. They've been waiting since August to get out, and there's a bunch of other people that have been waiting a lot longer, because if we look at this area here, there's going to be a bunch of supply here as well, and maybe that tempers my enthusiasm a little bit on Novonix just in terms of reward to risk, because this is going to be a massive supply zone. Why? Because so many people got in and they've just been waiting to get out. I can go hold on this one though. I know it might sound a little contradictory, but I don't think it is. I mean, this is such a major demand candle here. This is where all the demand is. Okay, this is massive. Gap through here. Didn't even fill the gap as far as I can see before it went back up. This all just smacks of demand to me. There is a substantial amount of demand in the system for Novonix, and that is what you need for a turnaround. Okay, you can't do a turnaround without it. And I'm encouraged by how shallow and how really the lack of volatility in this pullback. So that's all good. All we're waiting for here is this. Really, this is all we're waiting for. And this would be enough for an aggressive trader to have a crack at this one. So it'd have to be a decent candle, right? So, full white body. I know I've drawn it in, but this is what you want. This is the picture you're waiting for. So it's similar to this, similar to this. This is what you want to see. And I could happily on that basis, given we've had a first test and we've weakened this structure a little bit, I can happily go plus 1/3 here. Okay, and you might say, hey, Carl, that's a bit of a party pooper. Why don't you just buy it? If you think it's going up, why don't you buy it? Well, I've just explained to you in many, many words why I can't just buy it. Okay, I'm still worried about all this stuff. Okay, where would I go? I would go if we can have a nice white candle in that zone. If we can pop up through it, that's where I'm adding. And then it might be that final retest and hold where I'm going plus 1/3, assuming all the other reward to risk stuff is in place. Okay, it may not get these. Okay, it may not get these 2 plus 1/3 because of this. You don't have to go. Let's say, I don't know, you've got $100,000 and your history and your habit is to put $10,000 in it on every trade. You don't have to do that. There's no rule. Okay, I might just put a couple of grand on this. I'm just using silly round numbers. It might be $200 for you. I don't know, but it wouldn't be, a full weighted position. Okay. Now, something which doesn't have all of this stuff to deal with, it might get these 2 extra 1/3. Okay. You apply your capital on the basis of the opportunity. You're not a robot where you just go, oh, I do 100 shares of everything, or I do $1,000 of everything. That is just silly. So yes, I like Novonix. I'm very interested by this turnaround. You all know, I've said many, many times, it's a company that I want to buy. I wanted to buy it here. I just couldn't. The trend was terrible. Okay. I'm waiting for the turnaround. And I think we're in the process of getting one. Hopefully that satisfies your requirements there, bullshit. Let's go back to Phoenix Writers. I mean, I tell you what, Zoom, we put our name in, which is because of boring old names. The YouTubers, they have got some great ones. Phoenix Writer, although this could be Phoenix's actual name, to be fair. Sorry, Phoenix. STA. It's got some issues. Yeah, not the least of which is it's breaking through potentially this long-term trend zone. Now, what did we say here? Look at this. The last time I covered this was probably around here. I can only guess. And I said you need to see these candles to buy it. We didn't see these candles. In fact, we saw the opposite. So if these are the candles, it's not if, these are the candles you want to see, right? These are the bull side candles. These are the demand side candles. You see those, you go buy. You don't need me, just go buy, all right? You see these, right? These ones, okay. They are the opposite, aren't they? I mean, they're literally the opposite. We're not looking a whole lot better here. If we go through that sort of spectrum of buy, hold, sell, it's fingernail stuff for hold, isn't it? I mean, it is absolute fingernail stuff. And if you do have other stuff that you've seen today or in your own research that look better, you have to then say, well, STA is holding some valuable capital that at best it's a hold. And I'm looking at 3, 4, 6, 10 other things that could actually go up and make me some money. And that should put it into perspective for you. So I can certainly rule buy out of the equation here. There's nothing to suggest to me that demand is, really excited about the prospect here. And I could be wrong. I do this. I could be wrong. Could be up here. Could be 56 cents tomorrow because they find something. I don't know, maybe. But I can't see the future. All I can see is that there's very little enthusiasm on the demand side. And the supply side is getting edgy. The supply side is really getting quite nervous. And, their propensity to supply is increasing. So I'm concerned. I can go hold just on the basis that the long-term trend is holding, but even that is tenuous. Okay. Thoughts on BTC? I'm guessing because I'm not aware of, I don't think it's that one. Sell that one. I think we're talking about Bitcoin here. I'm encouraged by the fact it didn't collapse. I think if we go back a month or two, I think most people in crypto would have just assumed it's going to crack 17,585 and the next level down isn't until 13,800. And honestly, that's what I thought was going to happen. So I think the first point A is, look, relief it didn't go down and surprise. And I think therefore that there's something going on here that could help with a little bit more work, instigate some sort of rally. The short-term trend has changed. It's light green. It hasn't been light green since August. And it wasn't light green for very long there. So, that's step one. Step two is we've got to test these long-term trend zone, which is going to be a monster. I mean, this is going to be a monster of supply to get through, because how many people have bought in here and just want to get the hell out, okay, and never trade Bitcoin again? Not everybody's going to feel like that, but many will. So there's so much work that needs to be done. As I said yesterday, look, if you've never had any exposure to Bitcoin, I don't mind taking a nibble, and it's nothing more than a nibble. Okay, if you intended to put in X, divide X by 10. I mean, that's what I'm talking about as to what I would put in here until I got, and then as it starts to pick up, makes maybe a new high through here, I'm adding, X over 10. And then if it cracks through 22,793, I'm adding X over 10. And I wouldn't have the whole lot in until I get above 25,366. Okay, let us keep moving. We'll head back to the Zoomers. We've done Novonix. That's handy, isn't it? Ajit for you. And New Hope. I was hoping that New Hope would come up because I'm really quite devastated. And look, I shouldn't be, but I'm devastated. I couldn't see the future. And by not seeing the future, I couldn't give you better advice. Okay, the last time we looked at New Hope, we were here, and the candle was about that big. Okay, it was literally a small black candle. It hadn't even taken. Go check the tape. Go check last week's tape. It hadn't even taken out that low. It was a small black candle, and I said on the basis of that small black candle, and I say this every week, I don't know where the candle's going to close, so you will have to do the work. Okay, but on the basis of the small black candle, there was nothing sinister enough in there for me to tell you, stupid thing. But imagine that as a small black candle and everything else that came before it. There's nothing so sinister in there to tell me that you need to manage your exit at this stage. Now, the candle didn't stay that way, and I will repeat this again. The analysis I do is based upon the candle I have. It can change depending on the close, and then it's up to you. You need to use the stuff I've given you to make your own mind up. And I think we all agree, we've all done this long enough to say that that is not a great candle. The way that finished is not good. So made a new high and then closed like that on the low. Now, even that, I would say, requires confirmation. So only the most aggressive, most nervous person who listens to me would have said, oh, okay, Carl has given me this information. He's told me how to do this. Minus 1/3, manage, exit, okay? I would suggest you wait for some sort of, just a confirmation, another candle that tells you, because so many times we saw nasty candles, and then the bulls just came back in the next day. All right, we got a white candle the next day, and I wanted to go one candle, but you can see what we got. All right, we got this. Okay, so here for me, and I hope you'll agree. I hope you won't say no, Carl. You've been really ambiguous on this in the past. Okay, I hope you won't say that, because I think I've been absolutely crystal clear on this stuff. So for me, that candle, 100%, no doubt about it. That's what we're doing. Okay, so if you didn't do it on the first one, I believe you had to do it on the second one, and then there's really the taking out of that day here. There's another one. I can't see why this, depending on what price you got, even if it's down here, we're still in this phase. And I think at most on New Hope, this is at most you would be 1/3 holding only on the basis that the trend, the long-term trend is still up. But even that link, given the magnitude of these candles, the severity of those candles, even this is tenuous as well. Okay, I did pop up on Ausbiz on the Friday, and I did try and cover that. I say, hey, trim. So I just hope was it Ausbiz Friday? I think it was Friday. I don't think it was the call, but I did say trim on that. So hopefully you caught that. But I think the party is over here for the time being. Okay, and it's something we knew was going to come. So it shouldn't surprise anyone. We knew this day was going to come, that we would manage our exits on this one. So hopefully you took the bull by the horns, so to speak, and put that bull down. A third or 2/3 anyway. Okay. Now let us keep moving. So that is New Hope Corporation. Why don't we do, because I'm going to head off a few, I guess, Whitehaven. I can't see any reason why that's not ditto here. Okay. Again, you might not flinch at this candle. Okay. But I think this candle confirms, and this candle confirms, and this candle confirms. So I think we're also in our manage our exit phase here. And then Terracom. Well, enough said. I think we're definitely in our manage our exit phase on Terracom. Okay. But you have to be proactive. You don't have to wait till Tuesday for me to come up. You've got to take these decisions yourself. Okay. Andrew's saying he got reminiscences of a stock operator. So that's the one I was talking about. Andrew saying he got the book, he's read the foreword and the opening chapter. It's a great start. Keep going with that one. Everybody should go read that book. It's just the best read you'll have on the markets, if not for a long time. Look, the other one, while we're on it, Market Wizards, right? Market Wizards by Jack D. Schwager. Compulsory reading. The first two are good. Now, the first one, that's the first one there with the wizard on it, and that's the second one. So first edition, second edition are the best. Don't bother with any of the other ones. Jack, the first two were so good. Jack wrote about 8 of them. Don't bother with the other ones. The first two are the best. I like this one, The Way of the Turtle by Curtis Faith. So this is one of the original turtles, okay? And it talks about his accounts. Again, the first 4 chapters are brilliant. You can not bother with the rest of it, but the first 4 chapters are more than worth the price of that book. But very quickly on Ramelius, just to recap here, that what I like is there is a little bit of high peaks and high troughs about it. So 3 here, high peaks and high troughs. The white candles are fantastic. I love the white candles. And it has taken out this major point of supply through here, all the stuff we've talked about. What I would need to see to upgrade it to a buy, so certainly hold, 100% hold. But for a buy, I need to see the candles. I love to see, you know what they are. Don't make me repeat myself in this zone. And I could certainly go 1/3. Okay. The reason why I wouldn't go the whole lot is because it's a big long-term downtrend. Okay. Now let us go back to Woodside, which I can do very, very quickly or redo quickly because it looks amazing. Look at that. It didn't even flinch at any of that supply that was in the market. So we had a big pullback in natural gas. Natural gas prices halved in value. We had crude oil prices going down 25, 30%, and Woodside held tough. That speaks to me of a bunch of fund managers that are just sitting there on that buy side, just soaking up any of that short-term nervous supply because their long-term valuation for Woodside is substantially higher. That's why they are solid as a rock on the buy side. So happy with Woodside there for you, LE555. Andrew, plenty of cryptos had a decent run and can still move, not just the main alts. Again, catch cracking crypto on Ausbiz yesterday. I talked about a few interesting charts that you might want to look at if you're a crypto enthusiast. Let's have a look at BossEnergy. How am I going for time here? We've got about 10 minutes left. I think it's okay. Look, it's a hold, isn't it, James? Is it a tabletop pattern going on here? Oh, I don't know. Oh, tabletop, okay. Maybe this sort of a thing. If I zoom out, is that a tabletop pattern? I'm familiar with many technical analysis terms, but tabletop isn't ringing too many bells. Maybe is it that what we're talking about? Perhaps there's your table. Maybe. Look, I don't know. Yeah, this is the thing about patterns, isn't it, in technical analysis, and it's the reason why I don't use them. maybe not. What I can say is that yes, it is very flat, meaning that we do have some sort of equilibrium here between demand and supply in the short term, and in the longer term, yeah, we do have some clear supply coming in at this level here. It is clear as day. It is what is the one word, the word up from major, whatever's higher than major, major general supply through here. It is substantial, and the demand zone, in contrast, is I'd say through here. It's also quite strong, quite solid. So you've got again fund managers happy to buy that dip. You've got other ones happy to fade that rally, and here we are with Boss stuck in the middle. Look, it's a hold for me, not a buy until we either see some really nice price action or a breakthrough 3. The good news is though, we have there's your first test, there's your second test. So the good news is we've removed a bunch of supply already in that zone. So it could make for an easier third test and a breakthrough this time or next time round. Let us look at DEG. De Grey looks half decent. I think I know the last time we looked at it was in here. And we would have said, let's see how it responds to supply maybe up here. Okay, well, that's a huge bunch of investors made a mistake. Okay, so that's the big issue. Yeah, I think this price action is what we wanted. So if you look at this arrow and this arrow, I think we were saying, well, this is what we need to see in that green zone, right? In this green zone here. for me to upgrade it to a buy, and it doesn't look like that occurred. But it is looking better now. So we're kind of getting the candle we wanted to see here. It's at a fairly decent demand zone through here. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know if I want to buy it, though. I don't know if it's the best thing we're going to see. But if you're a De Grey convert, you're an absolute true believer, you love the story, I'm going to go a hugely specky that, okay? A hugely specky that, assuming, of course, it's the best thing you can find today, okay? I can go that. It's more than a hold, is what I'm saying. It's not a sell. Sell's off the table, and I think it deserves to be labelled as more than a hold, okay? But I'm not exactly an outright buy, but I can certainly go 1/3 on that one. Looks half decent. Half decent. Let's, for John, have a look at on the REIT space, perhaps, and ARF in particular. Decent rally. So we looked at Ramelius, had a decent rally. The REITs have also had a decent rally. So, John, I'll just have a look at the sector for you as well. So we look at the XPJ. Let's see what I'm talking about. So we do have high peaks and high troughs. Just this dominance of white candles is very impressive. We've taken out a major point of supply. We've still got to deal with this stuff up here, though. I'm not getting too excited. Look, the reason for this reversal is largely to do, John, with this chart I'm going to show you in a second. Not largely, it is to do. It is all about this next chart, if I can find the damn thing. There it is. So we've seen this pullback here in yields, but hey, at 2:30 Sydney time, we're going to get another reader on interest rates. So property trusts are massively sensitive to interest rates. They have suffered as this Australian 10-year government bond yield has been rising, and they've had a little bit of a reprieve here, John. So this is that reprieve. So if this shoots back up because the RBA does a massive hawkish pivot today, REITs will struggle. If the RBA goes all dovish, then and this starts to come down again, then REITs are going to be fine. Okay, ARF in particular. Let me have a look at that one for you. Try again, ARF, try again. Sorry about that. So ditto, look, that's the zone there that you need to be concerned about, and you've got the huge, crucial interest rate decision today. I can go hold. I don't think I'm a 1/3 though, because of the proximity to where it might struggle, sort of through here. Okay, so I'm a hold. I'm not an ad, if you get my drift on that one. For Rupam Carl, love these sessions. Thank you, Rupam. I'm glad you do. Can you please give me a view on SYR? Sure, let's do that one. Awesome. Amazing, fantastic, wonderful, brilliant. I can't give it 10 out of 10 just simply because of the proximity to here. And you know I like to get in as close to these zones as possible with some nice candles whilst holding, you know, with good price action, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, look, it's a hold, but it's just a bit far away from that value zone, and because the risk is, you know, it eventually finds that value zone. So yeah, sometimes you miss things, but if you've got it, 100% hang on to it. Look, if you don't have it, you'd go very small. You know, you have to go this, okay. But understand it is a ways away from its short-term trend zone, but looks amazing. So well done if you're on that one. Hopefully you are, Rupam. Next one is Cettire, which we have liked in this session, and I still like it. So this looks really good. I talked about, what was the other one I talked about? Very much a turnaround play. Looked very similar early on in the session. Novonix. Okay, so here, this is good. This is helpful. Okay, so look at the candle I drew in Novonix, all right? So yes, we've got the turnaround. We've got this big rally, shallow pullback, and that's the candle I wanted to see on Novonix. Now let's go, this is like fast forwarding in time. This is how good charts are, right? And what has Novonix got to do with Cettire? Absolutely nothing. The two companies are nothing alike, and yet look at the charts. Look how eerily similar those charts are. And this is where I keep repeating myself, hey, you guys out there, you can focus on what companies do all you like. That's your business. Whatever tickles your fancy. But what tickles my fancy is the fact that none of that matters. It's all noise. All that matters is how all of that noise causes investors to act. The ones with cash, do they run out in demand? The ones with supply, are they holding back on that supply? And we can see this very shallow pullback here, and I'm encouraged by today's candle. Hey, it's still a live candle, so let's hope it closes, push back up here, maybe even closes higher. No surprise, we saw this top here. Nobody should be surprised by that top. I've labeled it before as latent supply around that $2 mark. We've tested it. That's great. First test. Hopefully this time around we can get through. I'm 100% a hold on Cettire. Let's get a nice candle close here. Let's get this candle to close on the highs. And if that is the case, and I don't know if it will, I can't see the future, I don't know where the market's going to close, then I would be happy to do something like this if you're not in it. Okay, that's a really nice looking chart. Okay, and the last one is Polynovo, which we have had some fun on in the past. Hey, looking really good again. So can definitely get back to a hold. I know we haven't looked at this, I'm going to say, for at least a month, but if I'm not around and you see one of those, take note. Huge white candles, shallow pullbacks, and much like Cettire, much like Novonix, this is the magic. This is where the magic happens. On this candle here, it could have been better. I wish it was, because it would help me prove my point. But this white candle, this shallow pullback, this white candle near here in a long-term uptrend, that's the magic. Okay, that's where it happens. So happy to go hold. I can't go buy now just simply because we're a little bit too close to this supply zone there. But if you're on it, hold on to it. I think it looks really good. Let me delete all those studies for next time so we don't get all that garbage on there. Now, Groupon being very cheeky, asking for 3 stocks. Let's run through very quickly now. I'm going to only do one a piece from here. So Siliex, just a hold, I think. So I'm a little bit concerned for Chris that it is flattening out a little bit here, but we've got a pretty sensible point of no return. So that low there, 259, don't want to see it close beneath that. I could give it some leeway until then. What would make it start to look really good again? I would want to see it close above that high there, which is 315. So we need to see it close above 315. I think then we're back off to the races, but it is sideways, so you can't expect me really to give you much more than 2 levels where one is it's looking good again, and then the other one is where it's starting to look bad. Okay, let us do BossEnergy. We've done Carlo, that's fantastic. So let's do your other one there. ABB, very interesting chart, super interesting. A bit like that Ramelius play, higher peaks, higher troughs. Not as many white candles. That would cause me to just take a little bit of a pause there on it. This is a major supply zone through here, as in incredible. This is, again, we've gone from major, we've got general supply zone. Is it a cheeky plus 1/3? I'm going to pass on this one. Look, absolutely, I can go hold it if you got it. If you got it, on the basis that it is more likely, I believe, at this stage to go up than it is to go back down again. But I don't think that probability is skewed so much to the upside that I would be happy to do plus 1/3 at this stage. Okay, let's go to King's request there, which is MHJ, which looks good, pretty solid. A little bit like what Siliex needed to do. It just looks very illiquid. Michael Hill Jewelers has just become very illiquid and very scratchy. Looks solid hold, no complaints there. I just don't think it's got the mojo to call it a buy at this stage. But if I had it, there's no reason why you wouldn't hold it. Having said that, if you can see something better, you might want to go for something better, in that something that's a bit more, got a bit more juice in it. Let's go back to Indran. Welcome, Indran. This is the first time I've seen you in this, YAL, which I think we're in manage our exit mode. And I gave you a few areas. So this is the idea. If you don't have to be all in and all out, we said minus 1/3 there, minus 1/3 there, and then minus 1/3 there. So this is done and dusted. Okay. We talked, go check all the old tapes, building supply, lower peaks, lower troughs, bearish candles, manage my exit. Okay. Zico, that stage was Whitehaven do nothing, New Hope do nothing, Terracom we weren't sure about. YL, maybe even back then we said manage our exit the last time we looked at it. So ditto, I reiterate that. I can't see any reason. The whole case, I think, is off the table, and we're very much firmly in the sell category on that one. Next one for Terry's DRE, which needs to pick up a little bit. I think last time we said maybe a cheeky 1/3. I can go hold on that 1/3, but we wouldn't be adding a third. And this is where this strategy comes into its own, isn't it? That ability to say, well, I'm so glad I didn't put a full position on this. Hasn't worked out. That's okay. Many of my trades aren't going to work out. I can just dust off that 1/3 and keep moving to find the next one. Or if I leave it there and see how it goes, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm in the leave it there and see how it goes. It's not the end of the world thing. The reason why I'm not as enthusiastic about it, Terry, is I just don't like all these little black. We shouldn't see these black candles. We should see a bit more demand in the system there, but not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. This is holding. There's the little lower shadow here, and this is still up. So I can go hold on the third, but I wouldn't be adding any at this stage. From Terry, another one from Terry, cheeky. ARU. That's not ARU. RUL looks good, by the way. We talked about that one last week. ARU is, this idea of holding. It's extremely tenuous. This is the demand zone and somewhat through here. And beneath there, I think, that's supposed to be an arrow. I think we're in big trouble, okay? So buy is off the table. There is no buy. Hold is becoming extremely tenuous, and it is skewing more to the sell side, unfortunately. Hi, William. Aristocrat. Let's have a look at Aristocrat for William. Which is looking good. I like this one. It's a turnaround play. I'm plus 1/3 here. So I like your eye on that one, William. I like what you're seeing. I know we talked about this a little while ago, and we said something along the lines of, and I can always say I know what I said, because hopefully you agree that when I say stuff, it's pretty much the same every week. It's very consistent. Annoys the hell out of people, Carl. You say the same thing every week. You say, you call that repetition. I call that consistency. Okay, so here was our supply zone. We tested, we held. This is a nice candle. We're pushing up. This is absolutely deserves for me that plus 1/3 on Aristocrat Leisure. I know it's a very popular blue chip stock. I know it's been very popular on the call with lots of experts saying it's their best stock ever. That's always great until, of course, we move into a downtrend. But I'm happy to join the ranks and say that it is worth having at least a nibble on that. Maybe even a little bit more than a nibble. I'm in a rush, I know, but we would need to do this sort of analysis as to where the next supply zone might be. And I think we're okay. I know there's a little bit sort of through here, but I think we're dealing with. I think we're in that. I think we're there now. I think this is the key one. I'm okay with it. I'm happy to add some there. Let us go to NAB, which is good. No complaints. Last time we looked at it, there was a supply zone here. It got through it pretty well. Now you just look up, you just go, okay, well, it's just a process now. Here's the next supply zone. Happy to hold it until we get there. Let's see what candles appear in there. If they're the opposite of that one and that one, so big upper shadows, black bodies, or black candles in there, then I think it's probably done its dash. But I'm solid hold until then. Fran, I've done your Aristocrat, so that's handy. Glenn is saying, when selecting individual stocks you think will run, do you have a preset scan for finding stocks, or do you sort through them individually? Now I have a preset scan, Glenn, pretty simple stuff. Basically, I'm looking, it's a very broad scan. You can make yours more specific. I'll tell you mine is basically these trends aren't heading down. So anything that isn't in a short and long-term downtrend, I can look at, right? Makes sense. It might be good. So it's very broad, but you've got to remember, Glenn, that I can literally look at charts this quick. So I know what I'm looking for, right? Boom. This is how fast I get through charts, right? I can look at 200-300 charts in just a few minutes, okay? My brain is trained to do that. Okay, whoop-de-doo for me, right? Hooray, Carl. If you're not able to do it that quickly, you need to narrow down the search. So you might not say, oh, well, as long as these aren't down, I'll have a look at it. You might need to say, well, these need to be up, all right? And that's going to eliminate a whole bunch of stuff, and you'll only see something like a NAB, okay? Or even, I reckon, an ALL, not quite yet, okay? The benefit of having them loose is I see everything. I don't miss something like ALL, okay? But it takes more time. That's fine with me. I take all the time I need to get through those stocks. For you, the taking more time might be an issue, and that means if you try and cut it back to take less time, the risk is you lose some of these types of opportunities. So there's always that trade-off, isn't there? Unfortunately. Now, what are these moving averages? You should know them. If you don't, they're up here. These are not a secret. I don't hide these from anybody. They're my parameters. Why do I use those? Because they work like clockwork. Look at that. Support, resistance. Support, resistance. You can't make this stuff up. And we just happen to be on ALL, but it could have been on any stock. And for all the true believers out there, you already know this. You've done this research. You've looked at these. You looked at these moving averages, and you know they work amazingly well. okay, both in the short term and long term. So they're the ones you would use, and you would build your scan out of that, Glenn. So whether you're doing on TradeView or MetaStock or AMI Broker like this, it's pretty basic programming languages and pretty basic scans that you would run. Any thoughts on the RBA today? I think they probably should go 50, but they'll go 25, and then they'll do another 25 in December. Thank you for letting me know that chart wasn't showing before, Andrew. No Apple chart. Thanks for letting me know. I stuffed that one up as well, Barry. Screen is black, Carl. I don't see any charts. Okay, thank you, everybody. This is where I'm up to. Going down the list. Based upon the China info, would you sell BHP? Oh, we're going for time. Okay, we're over time. I didn't realise. Sorry. I don't think I want to be an owner for BHP, and I have no idea why it's so damn strong. Looking at all those commodity prices, it's totally baffling, and it doesn't matter what I think. Fund managers will buy stuff. There's still a lot of money that needs to go into the market. BHP's in the basket. So if you're putting money into an index fund, BHP gets bought. Think about how much lazy money, Terry. Think about that lazy money. Think about all the people not just that I know, that right now that just go buy ETFs. Okay, and BHP's in that basket. Think of all that super guarantee money, and how many of you listening today have your whether it be with Hester or Rest or CBUS, whatever it is, you've got it in the balanced fund. The balanced fund is 40% ASX equities. All right, they don't care whether China's going down the toilet. They have to buy because every week people are getting paid and that money is flooding into the system. So they have to buy. They have to apply that capital. It comes in, it's got to go out. And the way it goes out is into stocks like BHP. It's in the basket. And I think often the Australian market, a lot of these stocks get held artificially high until the what does hit the fan. And then that's the hedge funds, the real hedge funds and the real investors come in to sell that, overwhelm that ebb and flow of that ETF lazy money. BIS, the hold is becoming extremely tenuous. Okay, I don't know why it's done that. The chart looked great. I get it. They're not all going to work out. The candles don't look good. The price action doesn't look good, and it's starting to challenge that long-term uptrend. So it's starting to be very tenuous for hold. So I think you can read between the lines there. Algis, okay, CRN. I can just go a hold, but I'm starting to struggle a little bit with that. Yeah, I think we look. I'm just looking at the candles here. You know what I'm looking at. So look at these candles. Look at the supply. Short-term trend is under pressure, and in particular, looking at that candle there is not good. So if this candle here doesn't pick up real quick, we're probably coming into here to do something like that. And from there, I don't know. So a little bit concerned about that one to a bit. CXO is okay. It's fine. These markings that we're worried about it doing that. It hasn't done that at this stage. This line here. So I think it's okay. Well, actually, to be fair, it kind of did that. But I think it's okay. I'm happy to go hold on that one. But I have expressed my doubts on this in the past, Ajit. I have expressed my doubts on this one. Okay. And the supply that is just so pesky in the system, and this one, the supply that is there, it just feels like it is too much. It is a bridge too far. Jimmy, we did talk about Terracom before, so maybe catch that in the recording. Lovisa or Yang, it's fine. Absolutely hold. In fact, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't buy some. I know we might have lightened a third here, but I think if you did that and you of the persuasion, you might want to add that third back in. Otherwise, if you didn't sell, then hang on. It looks fine. There's no reason why you would sell that at this stage. A11, I've never heard of this one. There's not much price action there. I can say it looks good on what I can see. So the demand, the candles are showing a great amount of demand, and therefore I can certainly go a hold. I don't think I can call it a buy because there's just not enough price action there for me to be able to do that for you, Chris. AD8 for Helen. See, if you asked me yesterday, I would have said, "Oh, that's a problem." But it's come back well today, Helen. So let's just say, so this is good, right? This is one of those patterns we like, but this is concerning. So look, if it can hold here or better today, Helen, it's a hold, and then I would say wait for a break above this to go plus 1/3. Okay, but it is definitely in the hold category. Sell is off the table, I would say. If this candle, however, so this is how finely balanced this one is actually. If this candle turns into another black candle or the upper shadow, right, the long upper shadow, Helen, it would put me right off this one. Okay, so today's crucial. Why is today crucial? Because yesterday was so significant. So if it can come all the way back today, I could get in the hold, and it's so significant, I'd actually put it into the plus 1/3 camp. Okay, but if it fails today, then I think you just stay away from this one. Okay, I think it's too risky. 360 is the last one for the day. I've got to the bottom of the list. This is a hold. It's similar to Cettire and Novonix, maybe not as good as Cettire because today's candle is not fantastic. But again, I can put it in the hold camp. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little nervous about the supply that's at this zone and how we are not interacting with that supply in a very positive way today. Rupam. But I can go hold on the basis that the trend is still in the heading in the right direction. The candles are far from terrible. Okay, and I think I've got them all. In fact, I'm Leo Lithium. Happy to hold that one for you. Basements band on the stream. It looks good actually. In fact, let me just say this: if it closes above 66, so 66 and a half or better, I could easily do this. Easily do this. I don't think I'm any more than that at this stage, simply from the supply is here. And we haven't seen a lot of straight out buys today because that's the nature of the market, isn't it? I don't know if you checked, but there was a bit of a bear market going on. So we're not all bottom left blue sky stuff where you're just going, just buy a full position on it. But if it breaks through this high end, I'll just do this so I can remind myself for next time. Above that, then I think you go plus 1/3. Okay, let us wrap that up now. Thanks to everybody who joined me today. I know you've got to get off to the RBA decision fairly soon, but make sure you register for the next one. Of course, if you're listening to me on the live stream on YouTube, you can join me on the Zoom if you prefer. Apart from that, please check out our offering here at Think Markets. If you're trading shares, we do that. Self-managed super funds are welcome over here at Think Markets. $8 flat rate trade, CHESS sponsored, and everything you need to trade. If you want to trade some of the more exotic stuff, so you want to trade cryptos, indices, FX, commodities, you want to go long natural gas, not a crazy idea looking at that bounce that it had. You can trade share CFDs as well on the platform. So you can have your self-managed super fund in this account. You can have your CFD trading account here, trading everything in the world, long and short on this account, and manage it all from the same place with a dedicated account manager who will get to know you and look after you very, very well indeed. I don't need to tell you the Think Markets credentials. We are a global broker. We have offices all over the world, and we are regulated in each of those jurisdictions. Make sure you check us out at thinkmarkets.com.au. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button to stay notified of any future updates. I do regularly stream during the week, and you'll get a notification for those. And if you like what I'm doing in these sessions, please hit the like button to let me know to continue to do more of it. Apart from that, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you got lots out of the session. All the best with the two big races this afternoon, RBA decision and the Melbourne Cup. Bye-bye for now.